Imagine meeting someone who would change your life forever, a spiritual guide whose touch could unravel the mysteries of the universe, and who could see your true potential before anyone else. This is the incredible story of how a rebellious young Narendranath Datta transformed into Swami Vivekananda under the guidance of Sri Ramakrishna, a relationship that would alter the course of spiritual history. In today's episode, we dive deep into the fascinating training of Narendranath Datta, later known as Swami Vivekananda, under the mentorship of Sri Ramakrishna. Witness how this extraordinary bond between master and disciple evolved through tests, trials, and powerful spiritual experiences. This chapter explores how Sri Ramakrishna molded Narendra, not by suppressing his doubts, but by embracing his questions, sharpening his intellect, and preparing him for a greater mission. Let's unravel the incredible journey of the making of Swami Vivekananda. Chapter 3. Training of the Disciple. It is hard to say when Narain actually accepted Sri Ramakrishna as his guru. As far as the master was concerned, the spiritual relationship was established at the first meeting at Dakshineshwar when he had touched Narain, stirring him to his inner depths. From that moment he had implicit faith in the disciple and bore him a great love, but he encouraged Narain in the independence of his thinking. The love and faith of the master acted as a restraint upon the impetuous youth and became his strong shield against the temptations of the world. By gradual steps, the disciple was then led from doubt to certainty and from anguish of mind to the bliss of the spirit. This, however, was not an easy attainment. Sri Ramakrishna, perfect teacher that he was, never laid down identical disciplines for disciples of diverse temperaments. He did not insist that Narendra should follow strict rules about food, nor did he ask him to believe in the reality of the gods and goddesses of Hindu mythology. It was not necessary for Narendra's philosophic mind to pursue the disciplines of concrete worship, but a strict eye was kept on Narain's practice of discrimination, detachment, self-control, and regular meditation. Sri Ramakrishna enjoyed Narain's vehement arguments with the other devotees regarding the dogmas and creeds of religion and was delighted to hear him tear to shreds their unquestioning beliefs. But when, as often happened, Narain teased the gentle Rakal for showing reverence to the Divine Mother Kali, the master would not tolerate these attempts to unsettle the brother-disciple's faith in the forms of God. As a member of the Brahmo Samaj, Narendra accepted its doctrine of monotheism and the personal God. He also believed in the natural depravity of man. Such doctrines of non-dualistic Vedanta as the divinity of the soul and the oneness of existence he regarded as blasphemy. The view that man is one with God appeared to him pure nonsense. When the master warned him against thus limiting God's infinitude and asked him to pray to God to reveal to him his true nature, Narendra smiled. One day he was making fun of Sri Ramakrishna's non-dualism before a friend and said, "What can be more absurd than to say that this jug is God, this cup is God, and that we too are God?" Both roared with laughter. Just then the master appeared. Coming to learn the cause of their fun, he gently touched Narain and plunged into deep samadhi. The touch produced a magic effect, and Narendra entered a new realm of consciousness. He saw the whole universe permeated by the divine spirit and returned home in a daze. While eating his meal, he felt the presence of Brahman in everything, in the food, and in himself too. While walking in the street, he saw the carriages, the horses, the crowd, and himself, as if made of the same substance. After a few days, the intensity of the vision lessened to some extent, but still he could see the world only as a dream. While strolling in a public park of Kolkata, he struck his head against the iron railing several times to see if they were real or a mere illusion of the mind. Thus he got a glimpse of non-dualism, the fullest realization of which was to come only later at the Kashipur garden. Sri Ramakrishna was always pleased when his disciples put to the test his statements or behavior before accepting his teachings. He would say, "Test me as the money changers test their coins. You must not believe me without testing me thoroughly." The disciples often heard him say that his nervous system had undergone a complete change as a result of his spiritual experiences, and that he could not bear the touch of any metal, such as gold or silver. One day, during his absence in Kolkata, Narendra hid a coin under Ramakrishna's bed. After his return, when the master sat on the bed, he started up in pain as if stung by an insect. The mattress was examined and the hidden coin was found. Narain, on the other hand, was often tested by the master. One day, when he entered the master's room, he was completely ignored. Not a word of greeting was uttered. A week later, he came back and met with the same indifference, and during the third and fourth visits saw no evidence of any thawing of the master's frigid attitude. At the end of a month, Sri Ramakrishna said to Narain, "I have not exchanged a single word with you all this time, and still you come." The disciple replied, "I come to Dakshineshwar because I love you and want to see you. I do not come here to hear your words." The master was overjoyed. Embracing the disciple, he said, "I was only testing you. I wanted to see if you would stay away on account of my outward indifference. Only a man of your inner strength could put up with such indifference on my part. Anyone else would have left me long ago." On one occasion, Sri Ramakrishna proposed to transfer to Narendranath many of the spiritual powers that he had acquired as a result of his ascetic disciplines and visions of God. Narain had no doubt concerning the masters possessing such powers. He asked if they would help him to realize God. Sri Ramakrishna replied in the negative, but added that they might assist him in his future work as a spiritual teacher. "Let me realize God first," said Narain, "and then I shall perhaps know whether or not I want supernatural powers. If I accept them now, I may forget God, make selfish use of them, and thus come to grief." Sri Ramakrishna was highly pleased to see his chief disciple's single-minded devotion. Several factors were at work to mold the personality of young Narendranath. Foremost of these were his inborn spiritual tendencies, which were beginning to show themselves under the influence of Sri Ramakrishna, but against which his rational mind put up a strenuous fight. Second was his habit of thinking highly and acting nobly, disciplines acquired from a mother steeped in the spiritual heritage of India. Third were his broad-mindedness and regard for truth wherever found, and his skeptical attitude towards the religious beliefs and social conventions of the Hindu society of his time. These he had learnt from his English-educated father, and he was strengthened in them through his own contact with Western culture. With the introduction in India of English education during the middle of the 19th century, as we have seen, Western science, history and philosophy were studied in the Indian colleges and universities. The educated Hindu youths, allured by the glamour, began to mould their thought according to this new light, and Narendra could not escape the influence. He developed a great respect for the analytical scientific method and subjected many of the master's spiritual visions to such scrutiny. The English poets stirred his feelings, especially Wordsworth and Shelley, and he took a course in Western medicine to understand the functioning of the nervous system, particularly the brain and spinal cord, in order to find out the secrets of Sri Ramakrishna's trances. But all this only deepened his inner turmoil. John Stuart Mill's 3 essays on religion upset his boyish theism and the easy optimism imbibed from the Brahmo Samaj. The presence of evil in nature and man haunted him, and he could not reconcile it at all with the goodness of an omnipotent creator. Hume's skepticism and Herbert Spencer's doctrine of the unknowable filled his mind with a settled philosophical agnosticism. After the wearing out of his first emotional freshness and naivete, he was beset with a certain dryness and incapacity for the old prayers and devotions. He was filled with an ennui, which he concealed, however, under his jovial nature. Music, at this difficult stage of his life, rendered him great help, for it moved him as nothing else and gave him a glimpse of unseen realities that often brought tears to his eyes. In our next episode, we delve into the inner battles that shaped Narendranath's journey as he struggles with conflicting philosophies, the burdens of family responsibilities, and a crisis of faith. He stands at a crossroads. How did the presence of a living guru like Sri Ramakrishna guide him through these dark times? Join us as we explore the turning points that molded the future Swami Vivekananda in ways that would change not just his life, but the spiritual landscape of India and the world. Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.